Welcome to TFSL Tea Party Tour of Britain. Tonight we tour brave Scotland. We look at Anthony, the Arcs of Ramator's hearts. Hey, us donks here, Sibs. Richard, the Lionheart, Pontock's Falkirk. Graham, the Browns, Partick Thistle. Vaj, Paps Dundee. Paul the Arrow Thompson's Dundee United, Mark Harrison the Stewart of St Johnstone, and Albion the Ballistic of St Mirren. These managers are against each other, but together they force an alliance in total fusion Super League against the trinary English clubs. Tonight we'll be around these clubs and getting to the important facts. Join me and Mark as we sail through the lands and the Scottish Highlands to unveil some shocking and absolutely pointless facts. I hope you all enjoy.
Tea Party Tour of Britain, which I will abbreviate to is TFSL
OB.
We haven't done it for so long, I've actually forgot.
TBT OB.
So it's been a while since we've done this. The fun bus broke down and we need it repaired, but we're going to crack on, hopefully get these out once a month. So I apologise if we haven't been keeping them up to date. As you've probably seen by the intro, that we are in Scotland this week, and I'll kick it off. Mark, if you can kick it off with one of your teams and who you've done.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I got a few things to cover, so I thought I'd start with a double header for us, Phil. And I've got Dundee and Dundee United. So, two of the big guns down in Scotland. Let's have a little look then. Just get my notes up. So, they're managed by Vaj Pap and Paul Thompson, who's just recently taken over as well from Rob Harris, which threw a bit of a spanner in the works because obviously I had quite a bit about Rob and he's not there no more. So I had to get some very quick stuff from Paul, which he kindly did at like very short notice. Fantastic. Yeah, fair play to him. But straight on to the clubs first. Let's tell you a little bit about him. Dundee United facts, okay? So Dundee were founded in 1909 as Dundee Hibernians, and they changed their Dundee United in 1923. So almost a century of being Dundee United, which, great for Dundee United fans. When they won the Scottish Premier League in 1982-83, they used 12 players all season. That's good, quite interesting, isn't it?
It's like That's like a Sunday League team. Like 12 players all year. One guy sits on a bench all week.
I'm pretty sure Liverpool did it with 14 at some point in the 80s, but 12. I mean, that's phenomenal, isn't it? Another factor about Dundee United as well, Phil, and for those watching, they played Barcelona 4 times in European competition, and they've won every single game. In 66-67 and 86-87, home and away. So they are the only, I wrote in capitals, British team with a 100% record against the Spanish Giants.
They could be the only team ever.
Possibly, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, Phil. As well as that, Dundee United, no, I didn't do enough research on this, which I'm a bit disappointed with, but Dundee United is a slang word for idiot or fool in Nigerian.
What? Hey, you Dundee, man. You Dundee.
The Dundee United. Apparently they went on a disastrous tour there in 1972 where they pretty much got smashed up every game, so the locals decided to call the idiots Dundee United. Still sticks, apparently it is true, and it was a huge amount of stuff online, and I kind of started researching it, and with one thing and another in a new job, and I didn't get back to finish it off, so I'm really disappointed. I may touch a bit more on that in the next show. The fact that I can't go on about Dundee United.
You've been a bit of a Dundee United.
You've been a bit of a Dundee United. So maybe we'll come back to Dundee later. We'll stick with Dundee United for now because I don't want to take up all the time of talking either, okay? So the manager at Dundee United, we got Vaj Pap in charge, okay? And he got back to me with some brilliant stuff. I asked him a few bits and pieces, can you tell me a bit about you, etc. Some funny things. So the most ridiculous thing that's happened to Vaj, he was stranded in the middle of nowhere in a country road in the island of Crete because he'd run out of petrol. So he managed to get out of there a day later after walking about 25 kilometres. And he found the petrol station. I'm not sure if he slept rough, camped outside, whatever. So it's fantastic. It gets better. So he asked a guy to sell him a newspaper who was just browsing in a store. Turns out this geezer was Tom Hanks, the actor.
What? No,
Yeah,
in Crete.
yeah, in Crete, yeah. So he said he talked for a few minutes. He said it happened about 5 years ago in Antiparos, in Cyclades. And Tom Hanks, as Vaj said, as you may know, which I didn't know, he's married to Rita Wilson, who is Greek.
Oh.
So he stayed there for the whole summer in the island of Antiparos. He has a house there, and he was one of the friendliest people there. So fantastic. If you wanna go meet Tom Hanks, get yourself over to Antiparos in Crete
and get lost. That's the message.
Yeah, get lost. So good old Vaj. He did do a little bit of research. He found out obviously that the team's very close together, Dundee and Dundee United. He's visited Scotland twice in the past, so fair play. I'm not sure where Vaj is from, by the way, but he said it'll surely be his next stop when he visits Scotland again to head down to Dundee, which is quite interesting. So that's our Dundee United facts. I'll come over to Dundee maybe after you've done one of your.
Yeah, I'll go with Falkirk. So
Yeah.
Just to get sort of the football thing, out the way with Falkirk. Falkirk, based out of the town of Falkirk, they were formed in 1876.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say it. Barns. The Burns.
Barns.
Yeah, the Burns.
It's like babies, yeah.
There's a town motto in Falkirk, which is it is better to meddle with the devil than meddle with the Bairns of Falkirk.
The babies are dangerous.
It sounds a bit like, don't mess with them Bairns. I probably shouldn't pronounce their name wrong now. Looking into Falkirk more, I didn't look into the football team more with this one. I do apologise. I looked into things about they're very famous. Falkirk for the Falkirk wheel. It is the only rotary canal connector in the world. I'm not really sure what a rotary connector canal is, but it's the only one in the world in Falkirk, and they seem to be pretty impressed with that.
Yeah.
UFO enthusiasts believe that Bonnie Bridge in Falkirk is the world's #1 UFO sighting place. Around 300 sightings a year take place there. Also close to that is a pub where a lot of pissed Scottish people go. Are they linked? I don't know. Probably is what I would say.
I imagine so.
And moving on, this one's a bit of I sometimes like to look for news headlines. So there was footage recently in Falkirk Retail Park of what they're branding recycle seller bottle lady. There's a woman that lives in a recycling bin. And if you open the recycling bin, she tries to sell you bottles people have thrown in there at her. Someone took a video recently. They opened the bin up, and she was in there, and she was trying to convince a man. Did he want a bottle of Coke, an empty glass bottle of Coke? He did decline. But that's one of the more upbeat things. Sorry, mystery bottle collector woman is her name. If she watches this, I do apologise. In Falkirk, they've got also a building. The Dunmar Pineapple. It is known as the most bizarre building in Scotland. I've seen a picture of it. It just looks like a concrete pineapple. That looks pretty impressive. The most impressive thing with Falkirk is probably, though, their manager, Richard Ponto. I think we all know
Richard Ponto.
Ponto. I seen his videos and things. I asked him for stuff. He gave me loads back. Richard is he's the American guy. He was a U.S. Army Arctic Light. He was in the U.S. Army as an Arctic Light infantry man, I think. Then he did underwater welding, which I thought was something you told people for a laugh, but that actually exists. And now he fabricates steel as well. Sorry, Richard, if a lot of them aren't on point. I will say tonight I've took my notes down. I couldn't print them out, so they're on computer, so we're a bit everywhere. He said this story before. I think the best thing is Richard has described a formula to how he got into football. He basically says he fell in love with football using this formula. The 1998 World Cup plus unorthodox Russians, plus reggae music, plus Greek pubs. So I mean, some people say like my dad liked football. For Richard, it was a mix of reggae, Greek pubs, and Russians. So I mean, each to their own in terms of that. That pretty much rounds up Falkirk for me. Do you want to go back to Dundee now?
Yeah, let's go back to Dundee then. So I got some facts about Dundee, the place, as well. So we'll tell you a couple of bits and pieces about them. It's the fourth largest city in Scotland. Probably quite a few people know that, and more than likely a few don't. And a few useless facts, we like to check them in, don't we, Phil, as you've just told us with the Rotary Canal. In 1837, Dundee resident Jamie Chalmers invented the adhesive postage stamp. So thanks, Jamie. Saves us licking stamps, and glue on the tongue. It's never very nice, is it?
No, and I will say that man's done a great job. Jamie, salute.
182 years for the adhesive stamps, so there we are. Here's one for the younger viewers, and maybe some of the older viewers as well. Rockstar North, the makers of the infamous Grand Theft Auto game, was founded in Dundee.
Yeah, I know that.
And I'm sure there's quite a few cars that probably nicked them ways as well, so maybe, they got the idea from real life. There's another bin, stealing the car.
Hey, Jono, my car's just been robbed from outside again. We should make a bloody game about this. It'll be rage. It'll be rage.
I'll be grand. Mary Goodwin wrote the first two lines of Frankenstein when she stayed in Dundee for 2 years. In the early 19th century, I did have the years written down, but I didn't put them on my sheet. So I'm pretty sure it was around 1812, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
We'll call it 1812.
We'll go with 1812. Here's an interesting one. So William Wallace.
Freedom.
Yeah, he went to school in Dundee where he learned essential life skills such as face painting and shouting.
Is that true?
Well, I made up the face painting and shouting.
I thought you were serious. It's as if, when they started the riots and all that, they're like, right, who's going to lead us? I did face painting and shouting in school. Oh, William, you do it then.
William, take the front.
Wait a minute, I can't. This wee lad here has not done his fourfold face paint right. You can't go into battle like that, man. I also did that in year 4.
I did it, Ken. Couple more facts on Dundee. The first dissection of an elephant in Britain was carried out in Dundee by Dr. Patrick Blair in 1706. Any relation to Tony? I have no idea, but why he carried out a dissection of an elephant in Britain, I don't know. How the hell he got to Britain, I don't know. But Google tell.
There's an elephant over there, lads. What, you fancy cutting that up? Yeah, fucker.
Better look what's inside.
Some gold in an elephant. They're not like pot of gold there. Cut the elephant open at the end of the rainbow. The legendary 80s computer ZX Spectrum, very close to my heart. They were made by Timex in Dundee. So there we are. So, I had a Spectrum myself back in the early 80s, and I never had any idea it was made in Dundee. I'm surprised it got out of Dundee, mind with the amount of car nicking that's going on, influencing Grand Theft Auto, but, Grand Theft Auto 4.
Kudos to Royal Mail for getting it to me. And here's an interesting one. A die-hard Dundee fan, Ryan Patterson, won Game Room of the Year in 2018 for his Man Cave, which was a tribute to Dundee. But in a stunning twist of fate, Dundee United, Steve Kaler, came in second place. So, Man Cave of the Year in Scotland, won by a Dundee United fan.
In the annual Man Cave competition that we're all aware of.
Yeah, well, that's it. Maybe, we'll have to try and enter it next year. My Man Cave flat. I'm talking like nowhere. They're managed by Paul Thompson, who's recently taken over from Rob. For those are not too familiar with Total Palm Tree, sorry.
Total Palm Tree. It's a new game world starting up. Total Palm Tree.
Total Fusion Super League. So Rob was in charge, and he got loads back to me. But then he left, and Paul took over. So Paul is a keen darts player, which he likes to keep quiet, which is not quiet anymore now, because there'll be at least 7 more people that know that after watching this video.
Or 8, maybe 8.
If we're lucky, we can push it to 9, but who knows? 9.
9.
Nine. Yes, it is 9. He's got a dartboard on the kitchen door. Much to the annoyance of his long-suffering partner, soccer manager darts. Anyway, he went through a dart, it hit the wire ball, bounced back, and stuck in her knee. So he's banned from darts now when anyone's around, including the missus partner. So, Paul, maybe you should kiss your wife's knee better if you're watching this. Well, I'm sure the injury is long past. Fingers crossed.
Well, you never know. He might have been typing that to you as the dart was in her knee. Help me with that. I gotta tell Mum. I don't know why I'm doing a Scottish accent. Paul's not Scottish, is he?
I mean, if she shouted out in pain, like she could have been challenging William Wallace for leader of.
My knee. Needom.
So that's about that. Dundee facts. To be honest, I haven't got much. Very little. I have more on Dundee United. Founded in 1893. They're nicknamed the Dark Blues or the D. A lot of thought went into that by the sounds of it. We'll call them the D. And nothing else. They made the semi-finals of the 62-63 European Cup after winning the Scottish title the year before. Like I said, I had a lot on Rob. But I'm not going to go on to it, obviously, because Rob has left the game well. But hopefully he'll be back soon. And if he is back soon, then, I can use that information for whatever club he's managing if he does come back. So over to you, Philip.
Right. Well, sort of what I'm going to do, I'm going to go from quite quickly. I've got Hibs and Hearts, but they both derive from Edinburgh. So I've got Edinburgh as a whole. So we'll start with Hibs. Hibernian. Nicknames, Hibs. The Hibbies! The Hibbies!
There it is.
Hibbies! And a less frequently used nickname is the Cabbage.
Right, why is that, Phil?
This derives from the shortened rhyming slang for Hibs, which is cabbage and ribs. I don't know. That, for me, it makes no... Up in Scotland, that's probably like, cabbage and ribs, Hibs. Club formed in 1875. The ground, Easter Road. The location is Leith in Edinburgh. The club was founded by Irishmen living in the Cowgate area of Edinburgh. It's derived from Hibernia, which is an ancient name for island. Actually.
Okay, yeah.
And as we know, well, people mostly will know they share an intense rivalry with their neighbours in the city of Edinburgh, which is Hearts. Famous fans include Francis Begbie in Train Spotting. He can be seen wearing a Hearts top, Hibs top. Well, not Hearts.
Oh, fuck our leaves here till we find out who done that to that wee lassie.
And also the Proclaimers. They sang a song that they're Hibs fans, Sunshine in Leith. Something like that. So there's that. The manager, Nick Dunks. If you don't know Nick, you all know Nick Dunks. If you're watching a video, you'll know Nick Dunks. Hi guys, Dunks here. That's the guy. All right. So I got a lot from Dunks. So Dunks is from Towcester. It borders on Silverstone, the home of the Skelectrics. What he calls it, Formula One, the fans call it. He's a security guard for the local government and basically keeps an eye on the local MP when she's not in Parliament. He did have some cracking stories. He once met Trevor Morley, an ex-Northampton player, more famous for playing at West Ham. The best one though, and this is one of the ones that's going to like top it. He went on the piss with Paul Gascoigne.
What? That is thick.
15 years ago, he was put in charge of a conference side at Kettering, Gaza was. And before he was sacked anyway, he was in a village pub with Jimmy Five Bellies and Gaza walked in. And they were celebrating a new job, talking about the glory days and everything. And he said they were both just comedy gold and perfect gentlemen. And for me, I was just like reading that, like, wow. So that is Dunks and that is Hibernian. What I'll do now, I'll move on to Hearts. Hearts, nicknamed the Jambos or the Jam Tarts. The Jam Tarts comes from basically towards the end of World War One. Men from the McCrae Battalion returning home from the Western Front had a bit of Cockney rhyming slang in them. So Jam Tarts, Hearts. It seems to be a lot of that going on with these clubs' nicknames, sort of rhyming slang and things. Hearts are the oldest club in Edinburgh. They were formed in 1874, which I believe is like 1 year before Hibernian. Did I say, was that 1 year before Hibernian?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so they've got that in there. And Hearts of Midlothian, the full name.
Hmm.
They were formed by the Heart of Midlothian Quadrille Assembly, which essentially was a dancing club. So
Okay.
they thought, hey, I like dancing, but do you fancy playing football on the weekends too? So I'm guessing something like that happened. The modern crest is the mosaic of the Heart of Midlothian. I actually saw this because I went to Edinburgh this year. No, that's a
Hmm.
lie. I went in September, but it wasn't long ago. And the
Hmm.
Heart of Midlothian is on the Royal Mile, Edinburgh's Royal Mile, and
Yeah.
that is the only thing, a sort of bit of pavement, I believe maybe in Britain. I think the tour guide said you can walk past and spit on the floor. The reason for this is because
Yeah.
underneath the Heart of Midlothian, there used to be like some sort of prison where they'd throw prisoners who were half alive, half dead, and they would rot and they would die in there. But they wasn't always just, and some of the people they threw in there, it weren't fair trials and things. So basically, they spit on the floor there now, just spit on I don't know, the injustice of it all. But what happened
Yeah.
when we were all there was we were all there, and the bloke said, "Oh, people spit here," and we all laughed, and like 4 people walked past and and like nearly hit my trainers. I was like, flipping heck, mate. But no, that's the normal in there. Celebrity fans include Ronnie Corbett, Ken
Oh, yeah.
Stout, Chris Hoy on your bike, and Stephen Hendry, a snooker player. Moving on to the manager,
Yeah.
Anthony Ramatou, or Ramator. If I've said that right, Anthony, I hope so. He once met Brian Lara at a club.
What a
Yeah, he said he is personally a bit of a clumsy person. He was in a mall once.
Lara or Anthony?
Anthony, sorry, not Brian
Oh.
Lara. Brian Lara could be clumsy. He's good at a cricket bat, but Anthony once walked straight into a glass door in a mall before. Anthony said he's did a bit of research on the club before he took over, and he's very aware of the rivalry they have as well in the city. What I'll move over to do now, I've tied in the two clubs with now Edinburgh the place.
Okay.
So I went there. I loved Edinburgh. Fantastic place. I'd urge anyone to go for a weekend. But I'm not gonna bore people with like some of the facts I learned there because I do like my history and all that. But I'm gonna get into what I think is more important things. So I'll start off by asking you: do you know who Sir Nils Olav is, Mark?
No, I'd have a guess that he was a Viking king or warrior.
Well, no, you're wrong, and you're a fool for not knowing because he is the world's only knighted penguin who lives at Edinburgh Zoo. Yes, a king penguin residing at Edinburgh Zoo. He also happens to be Colonel-in-Chief and mascot of the Norwegian Royal Guard. He was knighted in 2008, and he received the name Sir Nils Olav. One of his jobs, he has to inspect the troops when they stand to attention. A lot of the members of the Norwegian Royal Guard, whenever they go to Edinburgh for the military tattoo that happens every year, they have to be inspected by this penguin. I can sort of imagine some of like the lads being like, the Norwegians, I guess, like, oh, trip to Edinburgh, brilliant. Oh, that fucking penguin's going to inspect us again. He's a right hard ass, he is. But yeah, he's the Colonel-in-Chief. So he's a bit of a big deal, that penguin. Other things in Edinburgh. The world's most pierced woman lives in Edinburgh. That's Elaine Davison. If you're watching, Elaine, I know you're a big fan of the show. According to the Guinness World Record book, Elaine has more than 9,000 piercings.
Wow.
Oh no. But many women of Edinburgh suggest this is wrong and say they've had over 20,000 pricks in them. So, have you ever heard of the saying, Mark, I'm getting off scot-free?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
That comes from Edinburgh.
All right.
Yeah, it was a public holiday, and everyone had the day off, apart from a schoolboy who had to be educated. So as a state of protest, a few schoolboys barricaded themselves in their bedrooms and refused to go to school. When the army stepped in to calm things off, a young boy ran out, picked up a gun, and shot a soldier, fortunately for the boy, he was a son of a lord, so he
Yeah.
never got punished for anything. So that is why they say getting off scot free
All right.
comes from there. Um,
Interesting.
it is interesting fact.
I like
But
that.
let's go
Yeah.
back to something I enjoyed more.
Yeah.
Bizarre military animal links.
Yeah. Yeah. Definite. Yeah. Phil's laugh.
I don't know whether this is the same elephant in your story, because Edinburgh Castle was once home to an elephant. Brought back from Sri Lanka,
Yeah.
the elephant became a regimental mascot. It
Yeah.
also is noted that he developed a taste for drinking beer while living at the castle. So,
Oh, get him another beer.
hey, Ellie's a bit past there, lads. You want to move him away? But yeah, so I mean, an elephant, a penguin, they've really got it all there. I was just, and that's all really for Edinburgh. There's a million things I could say, but personally, a penguin, Sir Olaf, that was one of my main things. I'll move on to your next one.
Brilliant. Cheers, Phil, for that, mate. Yeah, going on to St Johnson next. St Johnson are down in Perth, so a couple of boring facts. They're playing at McDiarmid Park, and well, this is quite interesting actually. Not that they're nicknamed the Saints, that's crap.
Crap.
They're the only senior football team in the UK with a letter J in their name. I think that's going to get a few people thinking.
And my mates did quizzes on this all the time. Yeah, and it was always that. Yeah.
Crazy, yeah, and they play at McDiarmid Park, as just noted, and it was named after a local farmer, Bruce McDiarmid, and he generously donated the land. Incidentally, it was also Britain's first all-seated, purpose-built stadium when it was built, which seats just over 10,000 fans. So good on you, Bruce, and
good on you, Bruce. I don't know why I'm saying Australia. Good on that, Bruce. Bruce might died. Bruce might died laying down.
And there's a couple of facts about Perth, which I try to find interesting. There's not a lot, really. One of the earliest ever recorded gravestones in Scotland is located in Greyfriars Churchyard in Perth. I don't know whose it is, so I didn't check that out. Sorry, Phil.
That's all right, Mark, not the important part.
Yeah. I don't know how much truth is in this one, but Google seems to think there is a bit of truth in it. No, I'm not sure if you're aware of a story involving a certain Jesus Christ. They wrote a book on him, and there's been probably a few movies as well.
I saw the ending; it fucked me up.
Yeah, it wasn't good. But Pontius Pilate, best known for crucifying Jesus Christ, really. Apparently, he was born in Fortingal Park. Oh, we ended up in Jerusalem. I don't know, but
it was a crazy night out, and then I ended up in Jerusalem. Jesus.
I can only assume maybe when the Romans, for some reason, headed over to Perth, had Pontus, thought, oh, we'll ship him out of here, So interesting. If anyone can shed any light on that, as maybe from Scotland, that'd be good to know. Ewan McGregor, Star Wars, good actor, Trainspotting, come back to Trainspotting again. He was born in Perth. And Perth is the Scottish capital from the 9th century. Kings were crowned at the Scone Abbey, home of the Stone of Destiny, sorry. Boring.
Is it home of the scone?
The Stone. I wish it was the Scone of Destiny.
The Scone of Destiny.
Eat the scone.
What a powerful... That is the most powerful element of bakery I have seen, sir.
And Perth is home to the world's tallest hedge. It's over 1,700 feet long and 100 feet in height.
I like to know, these are the important facts about these areas. There's a tall hedge in Perth.
Some would say it's hedge-tastic.
Some would say that, Mark. You're the only person that would say that.
And we got Mark Harrison, who manages St Johnstone. And Mark did get back to me with some interesting stuff, and I followed him up for more info, but didn't get back to me with any more. So I'll give you the tidbits of what he did do. Off the top of his head, he's done some cool things, which might be of interest to the game world. He told me he played table tennis at Old Trafford with Wayne Rooney, and he also played FIFA with Berbatov. You still there, Phil? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he also got...
That's mad. Was he a Man United player or something?
I don't know. And you also go around a tour around Old Trafford at Brian Robson, and he had a hug from Bobby Charlton. When I pressed him on these matters, I got zero response. So, Mark, if you can let us know, like, if you won those games of table tennis and FIFA, and how you came to be hugging Bobby Charlton,
That's quite interesting.
it would be nice, buddy. So, but fair play. At least Mark did get back with some nice stuff there. But I would have liked to have expanded a bit more on that. But good stuff, buddy, and that's fantastic. Well, I've got a one club left, Phill, so I'll pass back to you now.
This is my last one. Partick Thistle,
Mm-hmm.
or that I used to call as a kid Patrick Thistle.
Aye.
Patrick Thistle, nicknamed the Jags.
Yep.
Professional football club from I've copy and pasted that. They run from Glasgow. Okay, they're based in Phill Stadium. Now they play in the Maryhill area. They've actually not played in Partick since 1908. So it's over 100 years so they played, actually in the area. I'm going back to the nicknames. Thistle, the Jags, the Maryhill Maguires, the Harry Rags. Again, the Harry Rags, I'm guessing the Jag. It seems like rhyming slang again. Manager Graham Brown, didn't get nothing back from Graham, which is a little bit. But as we always do, what do you think Graham does in life, Mark? If we're just gonna have a punt, Graham Brown.
I didn't know. He sounds to me like he could be a postman, to be honest, you Phill.
There's Graham, always delivering the letters on time and not shagging my wife, which is why I like Graham Brown.
I think Graham might have delivered me my Spectrum back in the 80s, but I'm not sure.
Graham, if you did, let us know. It's not too, but if people don't give things back, it's fine. You don't have to. It just means we get to make up things about your life, which is quite fun. They have a Glasgow derby, which is contested with Clyde. It's dubbed the Old Firm Alternative. Obviously, Rangers Celtic really overshadow the Titanic clash of Clyde versus Partick Thistle, but it's called the Old Firm Alternative. Alan Hansen started his career at Partick Thistle. If anyone knew that, his brother John was a one-man club, and he stayed at Partick for 11 years.
All right, okay.
This is quite funny. Not too long ago, there was a famous conversation between a physio and then manager John Lambie. One of the Partick Thistle players got a sort of a bad head knock, and the physio said to the manager, he said, Gaffer, he does know who he is, and the manager said, right, tell him he's Pele and send him back out there. So I thought that was pretty good.
You score?
No. To be honest, there's no record of what happened after that game, but who can know? Anyway, so also. The home stadium was once used as the home of the fictional side Strathclyde FC on an episode of Taggart.
All right, okay.
Yeah. So Partick Thistle was once home to a murder.
There's been a lot of murder.
There's been a murder in Partick Thistle. This is a bit of an odd thing I found as well. On the 10th of May 1941, Hitler's number 2, Rudolf Hess, apparently parachuted into the Maryhill area. He flew 1,000 miles solo from Bavaria on a peace mission. When he landed, he was promptly arrested by a pitchfork-wielding local farmer, who he took to his farmhouse. He alerted the authorities, and then they arrested him. Partick Thistle was once also known as the Venice of the North.
Right.
Which is quite interesting. People are very, very proud that... 1 second, Mark, 1 sec.
Phil's just gone to do something personal, I think, guys. So we'll be back in a moment. Just in case you're wondering, guys, obviously we'd like to take the mick and all that. I'm actually half Scottish myself, so I hope nobody's offended by the accents. Phil's back, lovely, so we can go on with that now.
Sorry. Anyway, I was duties. Right. So, anyway, where I was, it was once known as Venice of the North. People in the Maryhill area are very proud that their bus numbers are easy to remember, but they are very bummed at the fact that there's only one train station. There's also in the area an infamous pigeon lady. She's normally surrounded by a flock of pigeon, which are her children. She looks a lot like the baddie of Home Alone 2, but from what
Yeah.
I've read up as well, you can see her without her children around her in the
Uh-huh.
St. Enoch car park if you want to chat with her, but only then speak to her, because otherwise she's normally got a pigeon flock flying around her. And that's me for Partick.
So Phil, you've given us stats on the pigeon woman and the recycling bottle woman. These are comedy gold, man. I gotta meet these on my next trip to Scotland. I'm telling you.
They're
I
the
love it.
important facts, they are.
Yeah, the important facts. And so we come to the final club for me, which is St Mirren. Doing pretty well in the game, but let's get some of the the boring stuff, I suppose. They were founded in 1877, and their nickname is the Buddies or the Saints. They're named after the patron saint of the town, who was called St Mirren, so makes sense, don't it? They played at Love Street from 1894 to 2009, and then I didn't bother looking where they play now. So there we are. Joint fact here, guys. The 1987 Scottish Cup final.
Yeah.
Tell you,
I am there, yeah.
when St Mirren beat Dundee United, it was the last time all the players, managers, and officials were all Scottish.
Well, sorry, Mark. Sorry, wait 1 second.
No worries. I think Phil's just got some babysitting duties to get on with, guys. We're almost over now. There's probably only another minute or so, maybe 2 minutes to do. So hope you're enjoying this so far. If he's not back in a moment, I'll carry on with the info that I've got for you. The next tour, hopefully, I think we'll be looking to go somewhere in England. So again, we'll be looking on six to 8 teams where we'll be managing you. Phil's back. So, that's all right, Betty. No worries. I was just filling in the audience and said you had a couple of personal details to attend to.
Yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare tonight.
It happens. So we're almost done now. St Mirren, they're the only club, to have sacked Sir Alex Ferguson, who was in charge from 74 to 78. After they did promotion to the Scottish Premier League, but he was sacked after disagreements with the board, so they must really be kicking themselves over that one. And here's a really interesting one, which will be right up your street, I think, Phil.
Yeah.
Legendary murderer Fred West.
Okay, here we go.
He attended a Partick Thistle versus St Mirren match in October 1966. Sorry, it must have been a basement battle, which could have inspired his future career. Basement battle, Fred West. So, apologies to anyone affected by the Fred West atrocities. St Mirren once had to try their send-off after tickling an opponent in a reserve match in 1970.
Tickling an opponent?
Yeah. I don't know who the trialist was, it didn't say. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it was cracking to read on Google. And I just got a few facts on Paisley. Albion Ballisti is the manager there. Now, Albion is very, very vocal on the newsfeed and Facebook, and I know he's very shy when it comes to the social things. I know he did an interview yesterday, I think, on NYT, which is his first video win. So I did chase him a couple of times for info, and maybe he's a bit worried about his English. He didn't get back to me, so we're not going to stress this. So I don't know, what do you think Albion does for a job, Phil?
I don't know. He's a top man, so maybe he works in Top Man.
Top man, stop. Yeah, we're not sure which country Albion's from. So Albion, if you could let us know if you are a sales assistant in Top Man.
I think he's from Albania.
Is he from Albania, yeah?
I don't know. I think so, possibly. Maybe he can correct us.
Yeah, hopefully he can get back to us. So maybe, Albion can get some info on that anyway for a future show. And a few facts about Paisley. There were more than 7,000 weavers in the town in the mid-19th century. But as the fashion for shawls declined, as it always does, so did the weaver population. In 1885, the Marquis of Bute, he's very popular in Cardiff, where I'm from.
Yeah, I know that, yeah.
As Scotsman, he donated 2 kangaroos to Brodie Park in Paisley, but sadly they died within a month of arrival due to the harsh winter.
Animals on this show this week. It's like Animal Week.
It's Animal Mania. And Paisley, legal fact from the legal heads out there, Paisley was the location for the landmark snail in a bottle legal case. This is quite interesting, actually. A lady visited a local cafe and she was served a bottle of ginger beer with a dead snail in it.
Yeah.
She fell ill, and she successfully sued the manufacturer, thus creating the modern concept of negligence.
Really? From snail in the bottle?
Or snail in the bottle in Paisley, yeah. So, you know,
That's where
that's
negligence comes from.
the suing culture, yeah. And I'm sure, you know, quite a few people will know this, that 30% of the world's scotch is produced in Paisley and Renfrewshire. Just a couple more now, because I probably know I'm boring you all to death. Paisley Abbey.
Snail in the bottle. Snail in the bottle.
It's all about the same bottle. There's a Paisley Abbey. It's more than 850 years old, Phil. You'd love it. And it contains the tomb of Marjorie Bruce, daughter of Robert the Bruce. But interestingly, there's an alien gargoyle among the intricate statues on the outside of the abbey. And it's believed to have been carved by a sci-fi loving rogue stonemason in the early 1990s.
A rogue stonemason.
Yeah.
There's a rogue stonemason on the loose here, lads.
He
Carve him where he wants.
Went to school in Dundee. Learned to shout.
After face paint with William Wallace.
And just finally, again, pointless crap, but I'm going to tell you anyway. You might use it every day, but did you know the chip and pin system was invented by a Paisley buddy? And James Goodfellow created the first pin and automatic telemachine technology in 1966 in Paisley.
I did not know that.
So there we have it. Have you got any more sides left now, Phil?
No, I've done now. Just thanks for everyone for contributing, and yeah, we basically try and get one of these out within a month next time, and not wait so long.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Phil, and I hope you enjoy. All feedback welcome. Constructive.
Yeah, as always.
It is untenable. Let us know. Cheers, gents.
Into us if you want. See you all later. Bye. See you later, Mark.
Bye.
See you later.
You'll never take